Yes, I know the review is a little late, but I've settled down now and more content will be coming very soon. But we're talking about the latest chapter of Kengan Omega, which had some pretty big reveals about Mukaku and his identity, which I'll try to cover it in order because I think this is the most important part of this chapter, obviously. And that is the fact that Mukaku, way back in the day in the 1940s, was a part of the Wu Wang Syndicate. This Wu Wang syndicate seemed like it was a very small group of people that were incredibly powerful. The most important thing about this syndicate apparently was that they used the same symbol as what the worm symbol is. And so we can assume the following, right? They are either the founding members of the worms, or you could say a particular section of the worms themselves, because I think even at this point in the story, the worms are supposed to basically be this secret society that's running the world, because they go back like 4,000 years and we're still like in the 1940s. So the worm has been around for a while at this point. However, the people in the Wu Wang Syndicate seem to be, or might have been, a branch of the worm that was based in China and consisted of like 5 dudes, which included Mukaku, which apparently something went really wrong. Because as powerful as Mukaku and his clique were, because they did say, I think it was Mukaku or the head of the Wu clan, where they said each of them were as strong as like 1,000 people apparently. And this is actually the same way Kuroki talked about Mukaku in Kengan Ashura, where he describes Mukaku as this one-man army. And so it seems like the Wu Wang Syndicate were simply built for like power, just straight up power and brute muscle. So the fact that even they were completely wiped out by an unknown force, at least for now we don't know what force it was. They did say it was a battle between syndicates, but only one side suffered losses, which means that either two things happened. The first one is that maybe one of the worm members that were supposed to be in charge came in there and just killed them off, or there was a feud between them. Remember, we just got out of the Kakigahara forest flashback where there was a traitor among them and we had that entire whole deal. A similar thing might have happened here, and so there's still a few mysteries when it comes to what exactly happened, what are the events that led up to that point. Of course, Retsudo talks about what could have possibly put Mukaku in the situation he is currently in, which we'll get to later. But it seems as though shortly after this, Mukaku survived and had heavy injuries. We then see him in the Kengan matches now. This was after the syndicate fell, and Mukaku is now, of course, fighting in the Kengan matches, and this is where the legend of the Gaio style begins to pop up. And this is very interesting because this again confirms what I've been saying, that the worms have been a part and have been interacting with the Kengan Association a lot more than what the Kengan Association even realizes, and I think even most of the community realizes. I'll have that video in the top right corner or top left corner popping up right around now. I recommend you watch it because like there are a lot of serious connections when it comes to the Kengan Association and the worm, to where I don't even think they're separable. Like they have to be like one of the most important members of the worm, and I think that is going to be important for the next Kengan Annihilation tournament, as I think this connection with the worms and the Kengan Association could lead smoothly into the final tournament arc. But it seems as though that Mukaku fought, of course, in the Kengan matches. We'll go back to that. And then, of course, probably after that, I'm guessing after that because he seems slightly younger. In the panel, we see him fighting in the Kengan matches, whereas when he arrived in the inside, he seemed a bit older, right? And so I'm assuming he went to the inside after he took part in the Kengan matches, which leads us to everything we kind of know now. And Retsudo does talk about how it seems as though Mukaku had ambitions, or maybe the Wu Wang Syndicate itself had ambitions that ended up getting them in trouble, you could say, with the worms as a whole, to the point where they kind of had to be killed off. Either way, it seems like there is a civil, or was a civil feud within the worms themselves, which is kind of to be expected for an organization that has been around for like what, 4,000 years? You know, so we have that major reveal and pretty big stuff. But now it seems as though we're gonna finally we're gonna fight Mukaku, and we see Koga. Koga is pissed off and he tries to attack Mukaku, and he does practically nothing. And here's the thing about Mukaku, he is deceptively powerful. Even though he's like 100 years old at this point, he is still like deceptively powerful, and we see it here, right? I'll probably make another video on the whole Mukaku situation in terms of how the fight between him and the Kengan team, which is basically Oma, Retsudo, and Koga, how that could possibly go, right? But another big reveal that I think is very interesting is the Gaio style being a hoax, meaning that technically it's not an ancient martial art, it is another form of martial arts that's just repackaged, right? Mukaku took this, repackaged it as his own, and is, claiming that he is the originator or one of the founding members of this style. Now, this means two things. Either A, the Gaio style really doesn't have that much significance in terms of a martial arts style. Now, I've said it for a while. I don't know if I've said it on this channel before. I don't think the Gaio style is that impressive. I'm gonna keep it honest, right? I think the Nico style is better, flat out. But the Gaio style seems like it does have its uses, but it's so limited in what it can do, and we've seen just how limited it is, right? Where the moment, Ryuki, you see what he can do, people can dodge it, and some people, without even knowing what Ryuki's gonna do, can still, deal with him. And even Mukaku himself trained Mukaku and trained Ryuki and said, don't show what you can do, because, when people know what you can do, it's practically over. There's very little in terms of what you can do if you give your opponent time and information. So the Gaio style seems like it's really not that good, and this is kind of like the nail in the coffin when it comes to the Gaio style, if I'm gonna be honest. But this could also mean that the book that the Gaio style originated from, it might have been part of this ancient whatnot. So either it's really bad, it's trash, everybody, at least what I've said it was trash from the very beginning, or we're gonna get another revelation that, okay, it's not as trash, but I think it's pretty trash, okay? Oh boy, of course I am joking a bit, but let's be honest, right? If Ryuki had learned the Nico style instead of the Gaio style, he would have probably been a better fighter in the Kengan matches. It is what it is. It is what it is. You could use the idea that he would be a worse killer if that was the case. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all, because I think the Nico style is just better at everything than the Gaio style, and this I think proves it. I think the fact that when Mukaku was in trouble against Koga, this man pulled out the Nico style. He didn't go for some Gaio style nonsense. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's the chapter. Pretty good. Again, I'll be releasing at least a few more videos because I'm a bit more free now. But yeah, that's it.